Hi, you guys. Our next guest speaker is Jenn Neville, and she is the creator of the Little Girl Lost Tarot YouTube channel, which I'm obsessed with. She's also an astrologer and an intuitive coach. Welcome, Jenn.
Hi, so happy to be here. Hi, everybody.
Yay. So excited to share your skills and just all of your light with everyone. Do you want to just start off by telling everyone a little bit about tarot and what it is if they're not familiar with it?
All right, so for the people who aren't familiar with tarot or have never gotten a tarot reading, I personally find it to be a great divination tool. I think that it's something that's become a lot more popularized lately. But I do find it as a way, I think we all have the ability to tap into our own intuition. We all have psychic abilities, and I consider it to be kind of like a muscle that the more you practice, the more you strengthen it. So I see tarot or any type of divination tool as whether you're using oracle cards, whether you're using the angel cards or the tarot cards, I just see it as kind of that kind of exercise equipment to strengthen that muscle for the intuition. And the more you kind of tap into your own inner abilities and psychic potentials. But the tarot deck, it's basically I think it's 78 cards, and it goes from the major arcana to the minor arcana, and it tells the story essentially of the fool who is going through his own spiritual awakening and all the different situations that he encounters in his life. So the more you read it, the more you can kind of use those references to connect you with what might be happening to somebody else's life or what might be going on in somebody else's life. So it's kind of a fun little story, and it's a fun little way to just practice developing your own psychic intuition.
So cool. I've never heard that part of it. So that's really, really interesting and gives really great context for what you're going to do. So, do you want to explain to them what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be reading, and then I'll just let you dive right into it?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to intuitively pull just a few cards and kind of tap into the collective energy of the next year. I definitely want to talk about some of the astrological events that we have coming up, shifting from 2020 to 2021, just to kind of get a sense of what the energy is going to be in the upcoming years and how we can see that affecting the collective and how that might impact us as individuals, but also pulling some cards to see kind of what themes that spirit is guiding us towards in 2021.
Amazing. So exciting. Okay. Well, I'm going to switch it so they just see you, and then I'll let you take over.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right. Go for it.
All right. Oh, because it's on yours. Never mind. All right. So there's a couple really exciting things that are happening here moving into 2021. Right before we hit 2021, I feel like a lot of people have heard of this or have heard like the rumors of December 21st. We're having this thing called the Great Conjunction. And obviously, as we know, like 2020 astrologically has been like a wild year, and we're actually not going to see another year like 2020 until 2053. So that gives us like a little bit of time to process what we've just went through. But this December 21st, we are entering what's called the Great Conjunction, which is Saturn and Jupiter are going to be in conjunction. This happens every 20 years. And every 80 years it kind of shifts, but the biggest thing for, or the biggest significance for this one is they're meeting in Aquarius, which marks the beginning of an 800-year period of air. Which when it's been 800 years since Saturn and Jupiter have met in air signs. So for the next 800 or for the next 200 years, they're going to be in air signs. This is significant because obviously when we think of the qualities of air, especially Sagittarius being such a this Sagittarius being such like a social sign and such, it's like the natural 11th house ruler, which is social life, goals. I think we're going to see a lot of transition around how we socialize. And with Saturn being in its home of Aquarius, it is going to be more comfortable. But Saturn is the planet of kind of rules and restrictions. So we're going to see the effects of that here Saturn's going to move into Aquarius on December 16th, which is going to immediately kind of affect how we socialize. And I think we've already started seeing that just by having kind of retreats like these on these Zoom effects, like just finding new innovative ways to connect with the world and to connect with one another, which it's really exciting because I think this year coming up is going to be all about progress and a lot about expansion in terms of innovation, with Jupiter also moving into Aquarius, and Aquarius being that sign of innovation and thinking outside of the box. I think that during the next year, we're going to start to see kind of the developments of these new ways of connection, these new ways of socializing. So I feel like there's a lot of healing going on in the collective from what we've learned and what we've seen happen in 2020 and how we're going to start preparing for the future and to, avoid things like this happening. Like we're going to see more workspaces move from work from home, working on this digital spaces, which I think is really cool. But from an individual perspective, moving into this air sign, we're going to see the development of our manifestations happen a lot faster because we've been meeting in earth signs for so long, where kind of like this material wealth or this emphasis on the material is king. And now when we move into the air sign, it's kind of going to be like our intellect and our energy. There's going to be a stronger emphasis on, elevating consciousness. So they keep talking about like these predictions of like the world's going to end or the world's going to split off into two, or we're kind of elevating ourselves into this 5D consciousness, which, if anything, I would resonate most with the 5D consciousness part, because it's going to be so important for us moving into the next year to really connect and to really work on our own conscious levels of consciousness, just because our manifestations, we're going to be able to witness them happen so much faster. And that's kind of the part of innovation. It works as individuals as well. It's like anything that we're thinking, the energy is going to be in support of allowing us to kind of think these things into reality. So I think that's like something really important to note of 2021, is really working on healing the energy, which is amazing retreats like this, where you're kind of learning more about how to increase your awareness in regards to these topics. So that is kind of some of the significant things that I see happening for 2021, or for us to start preparing for. I feel as though, like, as a collective here, as I pull out these cards, I'm seeing the 7 of Wands and the Fool card. So just from an overall theme, it's like, I feel like the hardest parts, we've been through the hardest parts. I feel like we've gotten through the challenges. We've really persevered and pushed through as a community. And I feel like we're getting ready to take this leap into kind of this collective new beginning. Which is why I emphasize on just really lightening your energy going into 2021. It's one of those things where, well, I guess when this is released, it will be 2021. It's one of those things where, you want to be as light and as free as possible. And it's really about dumping the baggage that's going on in your mind, or overcoming this like excessive thoughts, because as I said, our thoughts are going to become things much quicker than we've even been used to in the past. So that's going to be like, the more clear and precise and clear your channels are, the more quickly you're going to be manifesting what you want. But on the same token, it's like, if your channels aren't clear, if you aren't, really, if you really aren't thinking the right thoughts, those are also going to manifest a lot quicker as well. It's kind of like that conscious versus unconscious manifester. It's time for us to be conscious manifestors in 2021 leading forward. So yeah, Two of Swords here. Again, it's just this emphasis on really kind of, I think the moving into 2021, we're really starting to see this energy of everything that we need, we already have within us. We have all this power. And I think on a collective level, even with kind of everything that we've seen go on in the media and in politics, we're all really waking up to our own power and to possessing that sovereignty over our thoughts and our beliefs, and really trying to disconnect from, these external programs and rely more on our intuition and our own ability to create what it is that we want. I think the biggest emphasis here, though, for the themes that I'm seeing is like, we're stepping into this new era, new reality. And I think that in the process of healing ourselves, we are going to kind of towards the end of 2021, I feel like there's this big come together. I think we're all in this individual process of healing, and ultimately we're healing ourselves so we can come together as one. Again, I'm seeing like a lot of swords energy here with the King of Swords, which is a lot about truth being revealed. Another thing that's happening kind of astrologically, Uranus is going to be moving into Taurus as well, which is going to be, it's going to be there, how it's interacting with Saturn. It's basically like giving way to a lot of creativity. Like there's going to be a lot of developments happening in this year. But even when we're talking about collective, it also supports us as individuals. So this is kind of that individual push for any creative ideas or any creative businesses. Now's the time to really push forward on it, or to really get clear and work on manifesting that kind of new beginning, that new venture for yourself, because the energies, the universal energies are really supporting it. So I'm pulling some of these Monology cards just to see what kind of themes we can expect collectively for 2021. So it's time to release negativity is the one we got, full moon in Scorpio, and emotions are running high, super moon. So again, with it's time to release negativity, I think that's kind of what I'm talking about here. It's like, we're going to need to be a lot more conscious of the thoughts, of the energy we're putting out. I wouldn't be surprised if people start to really monitor what they're consuming via the internet, or consuming online, or consuming just even in the mainstream media. Emotions running high. I feel like we're just experiencing a massive collective purge of these emotions, so that we can kind of move into this time where we are on a more kind of collective conscious, like we're all tapped into the collective conscious. And I think that's so important. We need to realize that we're all in a way affecting the collective conscious. So in order to really be as one consciousness, we need to really kind of look out for one another, and we need to do so by doing our own healing work and our own releasing. So have faith in your dreams, the waxing crescent moon, and luck is on your side. So overall, I feel like this is going to be a very, very good year, a lot of fortune, we're going to see kind of a comeback here from 2020. We're going to see that start to rise. It's funny, all these cards are purple, so I get like a very strong energy of like, spiritual awakening and that crown chakra, a lot of third eye openings happening. I think a lot of people are waking up. I think we saw that back in 2020. And I think more people are kind of wanting to create a world in which they feel more comfortable. And that might be what drew you here to this event. But know that you are on the right path and that you are being supported by the universe, and you are being supported to take the time and heal and release what needs to be released, because moving into 2022, I know this is like a long time away, 2022 or 2023, we are going to start to see us come together more as a community and really take over kind of creating that utopia, or more realizing that we don't have to live in the way that we've been living in. We're all waking up and becoming more conscious of our own realities and how we're creating that. So let's see. For the archetype cards, I'm pulling Judge, balancing justice and compassion, managing a fair distribution of power. So again, I feel as though this is just the theme for the next year. I feel like as Aquarius is very humanitarian. So the fact that we're having this big conjunction in the sign of Aquarius, I feel that a lot of what we're doing, what's being innovated, is going to be helping other people kind of find this balance. And I think that is why we are seeing the rise of spiritual teachers or intuitive coaches, of people helping people break away from this 9-to-5 construct, because that's what the world needs. People, and even how I said, like, material wealth is going to not be as important as, you know, that intellectual. People are going to want to buy peace. They want to buy peace is the currency, you know, and people want that intelligence. People want to be educated. People want to learn about how to find that peace and find that balance. So a lot of people here who are pursuing careers in, you know, the spiritual field or helping other people, I feel like that is, we're going to see a rise in a lot of that. A lot of, you know, people teaching other people, people working on helping, like, wellness. I think that we're going to see a rise in that, because a lot of people are pursuing that. They're pursuing an outway. And I think it's kind of really beautiful to see that, because that's how we're helping each other as a community. So even though there's an exchange of energy, and obviously, like, you know, receiving payment, or somebody, you know, paying somebody for their information, but I still think it comes up as like this beautiful way of how we're helping each other to grow, and how we're kind of, you know, looking out for one another, or helping people break away by teaching them these certain lessons. And I think that's something we're going to see a lot more of. And because of that, there's going to be a lot more innovation around how we connect with people, how we create, and how we are able to connect with people around the world on such a grander scheme, even bigger than how we're connecting through Instagram or through you know, these social media apps. I feel like it's going to get even more, even bigger. I mean, we've seen in 2020, it's been just so much more comfortable to do these Zoom events, or to really connect on that level. So I'm really excited to see how that evolves. But we have the Knight coming up here, which is loyalty, romance, chivalry, and a love of honor. So each of these have shadow attributes too. And I find this interesting because the shadow attribute is allegiance to destructive ruler or principle, romantic delusions. So I do think that just to, not to fearmonger or anything, but I do think that we need to be careful of who we are putting our trust and who we are putting our energy into, not allowing ourselves to be deluded or to be tricked and deceived into kind of idolizing something that's external from us. And I feel like we see that a lot in, obviously, our government and politics. And I'm not even directing one side. I think all sides, that we give this power to these people to govern our bodies or to govern what we're doing. And I do think on like a really big scheme, this is a part of the reason why I think as a collective, we do need to wake up and realize that, you know, if you're fearing somebody being able to take your rights away, then that's a problem within itself, that as humans, we need to, you know, really take over the power that we have, or wake up to the power that we have and realize that you can always say no. You can always say no. And I think, you know, we live in a society or a world that has trained us that we don't have a say. We don't have the ability to say no. And that's so important about connecting to your internal power and waking up to that. The last one I got was Don Juan. Spotlights your positive, seductive qualities. And the shadow attribute for that one is using the power of romantic attraction for private agenda. You know, both of these are kind of talking about romance and love. Obviously, you know, everybody's always interested in the topic of love and romance. But I also think this has to do with kind of a lot of the shifts that we're just seeing in the collective energy, a lot of what's going to be, a lot of what we think is attractive now, I think is going to be shifting and changing. So at the end of the day, I feel like my biggest message that I'm getting like from all of this is just that this is a very, at least for the beginning of 2021, this is a very important time for us to focus on ourselves. I feel just looking at the astrology of things, we might go back down into lockdowns. I live in Florida, so we've still been pretty open, but I think as like a whole, everybody's been going into stricter lockdowns. But really taking this as a time to do the work that you need to on yourself, do the releasing, do the healing. Things are going to get back to normal around the summer, things being opening up. But I think that it's important that during this downtime, we maximize on our ability to really do the healing work that we need to, so that when the world does open up, we're kind of seeing it with fresh eyes and we're moving towards our goals and our dreams and not having these self-limiting beliefs. I think that the universe spirit is really supporting our energies to move forward and to, like I said, help one another in the process of waking up. So if you are somebody who is pursuing that spiritual business or looking to start coaching, now is most definitely the time to jump into the arena, because this is what people are looking for. People are looking for a way out and a way to help themselves wake up and kind of move forward on this spiritual journey. So
thank you so much. That was so powerful.
oh, good.
I just feel like it's all just, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but it's also a lot of information that, you know, it's reassuring to hear,
Yeah.
really reassuring.
Well, especially
And
with everything that's been going on, it's like, you know, it is going to get better.
there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was just like the perfect message for us to hear. And I feel like it just goes
Yeah.
perfectly with this event. So
Okay.
amazing. You're so gifted and we appreciate you. Will you tell everyone what your little freebie is that you're offering? And I'll link it for them with all of your other links so that they can check it out.
Alrighty, so I'm going to be doing a discount code for, and I'll provide that to Kelly. It'll most likely be like a 20% discount code for any sessions with me, any readings that I open up. I read astrological charts and do kind of one-on-one consultations, or just a tarot reading if you're interested, or any of the products that I have on my shop, which I will be including that link and giving that link to Kelly. So
Yay.
yeah, I look forward to working with all of you or any of you that are interested.
Yes. And you guys make sure to check out her YouTube channel as well.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.